reality, chat. The game is just beginning. Now, stay with me, guys. Stay with me. Here we go. Arigato! Guys, I think, let's go ahead and jump into the review. I think it'll be fun, because I want to get to the erotic Sonic fan fiction, and I also want to play Sonic Unleashed. Actually, that's a lie. I don't want to play Sonic Unleashed, but I'm doing it for you. So we're going to get right into this, guys. So this movie, this was the film that came after Spider-Man 3. Sam took some time off. He's like, okay, listen. Spider-Man 3, that was, people like it, sure, some people like it, and it made a ton of money. It was the highest grossing in the franchise, but I think over time, a lot of people disliked that film. I particularly had a negative reaction to it. I think he was burned out after that, so he returned to his horror roots, which is great. I love to see Sam Raimi do more horror stuff and horror comedy type of things, and that's what he came up with, Drag Me to Hell, which shares a lot in common with Evil Dead, specifically the original film. He wrote it. Sam's got a lot of fucking brothers, by the way. He's got his older brother, Ivan Raimi, who also stars in this film as an asshole chap. He's in this movie. I think Ted probably's in this, too. He was in the background or something. He played, like, some schmuck in a suit. Ted always gets the shit jobs, chat. I guess he's the little brother of the three. And I guess Sam is the middle brother, as far as I know. Also, surprise, Chad. Fucking Justin Long's in this movie. You don't see Justin Long all that much today. I know I always confuse him with Jay Baruchel. I was like, oh, well, he did How to Train Your Dragon. I was just about to say that. I was like, oh, that's not the same guy. He does a lot of Kevin Smith movies. He was in Tusk. He did Yoga Hosers, which I did not see, but I don't think he's particularly good in that. So but he's fine in this. He plays the boyfriend character. Chad doesn't get a lot to do, but he's very charming. He's a good-looking guy in this movie. It's like, oh, that's nice. He's a point of that the main character that we have is Chris. She goes to him when she needs comfort. He's a comforting character. That's how I would describe him. But this film, chat, again, relatively cheap, $30 million, and it made a profit of $90.8 million. Some people say this bombed. I don't know. I think that's a profit as far as I know. I mean, it made double its money. At least I know you got to figure in marketing, so maybe $60 million, $55 million overall. But still, you made some significant profit. But whatever. But the film opens up in Pasadena in the year 1969, and we're following this Hispanic couple, chat. They're in their pickup truck. They're driving to this very opulent mansion, but they're driving like a fucking bat out of hell because they bust through the goddamn gate. They arrive at this thing. People are like, whoa, what are you doing here? What's going on? And then they have this woman come out, this other Hispanic woman. She's like, what are you doing here? And they're like, it's a couple, Chad, a mother and father, and they have this kid. He's wrapped up in blankets and everything. He's like, you have to help our boy. You have to help our boy. She's like, what? What's going on? And they unwrap him, Chad, and there's fucking flies buzzing around his head. Is that what happened was he has some sort of affliction. He's seeing things that aren't there. And she's like, okay, well, that's weird. Well, what caused this? And he stole a piece of jewelry from a gypsy woman, Chad. It's like, never steal jewelry from gypsies. That's usually ends up not working out for people. You're either cursed or you become a werewolf. I think those are the two big ones. Or you get really, really skinny, as we saw in The Thing, which is a terrible Stephen King adaptation from a terrible book. We don't want that. Yeah, so those are the three things. You get cursed, something nefarious, werewolf, or you get really skinny. There you go. And she's, it's like he stole this piece of jewelry, and it's like, ugh, and the I guess I don't know how to describe it. It's a Hispanic woman. She's a psychic. We're gonna just call her the psychic, chat. She looks at the kid and she looks at the piece of jewelry that he has clutched in his hand, and she's like, that is not good. That's bad juju. All right, bring the kid in. We're gonna perform a seance and try to get these evil spirits away from him. And she's asking him all these questions. Okay, how long has he had this thing? Oh, well, today's the third day he's had it. And she goes, ooh, that's not good. All right, let's bring him up. We're going to start doing it. And they get the kid. They put the kid on the table. They lay him down. She starts saying this prayer in Spanish, chat, trying to banish these things. Meanwhile, the kid's just fucking looking up to the sky like all these shadowy demon hands are just, grasping at nothing, really. But the lady, she's doing her prayer, and all of a sudden the fucking mom is blasted back, the dad's blasted back, he's fucking dead or whatever. You get, all the way on the other side of the room, chat. The psychic woman, she gets blasted back. I mean, kid's is freaking out. He's losing his goddamn mind. And so he busts out of there. He's trying to run away, and then he's lifted up into the air, chat, on like the second floor, like a balcony, and the demons, they just want to have fun with him. So they fucking toss this little kid off the balcony. He hits the like smack. You hear the smack, chat. Like, this kid should be dead and just, brain split out. But, the mom and dad's not dead. He's fine. But mom and dad, they come rushing out along with the psychic woman. They're looking down. It's like, oh, no, we'll be right there. We're going to come get you. And so they go down the stairs. The psychic woman's just like, this is not good. All of a sudden, the kid comes to, miraculously. Like, this kid would definitely be dead, chat, or just really fucked up. Like, his head would, because he hit a stone floor from, I don't know, 2 stories. That will fuck you up a little bit. Maybe, including death might be an option. And so she's looking down, this kid's coming to, he gets up, and all of a sudden, chat, the fucking floor cracks open. You see the hellfire from underneath. And the kid's, he's screaming. The psychic woman's like, get out of there, get the hell out of there. And the kid's not listening, chat. He doesn't care because he's freaking out. The other crack skulls split around him, chat. They encircle him, and all of a sudden, at the end, we cut to the psychic woman, and we see the shadow of the demon hands dragging this kid down. They dragged him to hell, chat, just like the name of the movie. So, I mean, within the span of 5 minutes, they established, oh yeah, they dragged me to hell. I got you. Very literal. We cut to modern day, which in this case is 2009, and we're introduced to Christine Brown, who prefers to go by Chris. She works as a bank teller, chat. She wants to get this big promotion in her branch. But she's got to deal with this asshole, Patrick, who's also vying for the same position, the assistant manager position. And she has to, the person she has to placate, grovel to, played by Ivan Raimi, the oldest of the Raimi brothers. I thought he was the middle child, but he's actually the oldest Raimi. And this is fucked up, Jet. Like, of all the things, other than the CGI, which some of the CGI has not aged well. CGI always ages worse than practical effects every single time, in my personal opinion. But this movie introduces something that's like, okay, this is kind of weird. It's my one big gripe. You got to give this to me. My one big gripe of this movie is that he's constantly dangling this job in front of 2 people, and like within fucking earshot says, it's between you and this guy, but I think you're gonna get it. Like, he changes his mind constantly throughout the film. I don't know about you. Did that bother anybody when he kept doing that? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on that, because I thought that was a really shit thing to do. Yeah, we'll get into the curse and the demons and the animal sacrifice, but did anyone else find that weird? Like, that is not good office etiquette. You don't do that. You don't want your employees to just fucking go after each other. It was shitty. Roll credits. They really should have. I mean, that happened. It's like all played out. That is fucking very true. But we have to see the extended version. We have to see what actually happened within those 3 days with 3 days with Christine Brown. Chris Brown. Not the singer, but the girl. Hey Chris, it's me. Oh, Ultimate Darkslayer. Good to see you. Formerly known as Darkslayer. Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna still call you Darkslayer. I become the Ultimate Darkslayer. So should I call you Ultimate Darkslayer, or can I just call you Darkslayer? I want to know. I want to know if that's okay. But anyway, chat, I was bothered by the fact that Ivan Raimi was just dangling this position in front of these 2, just making them compete against each other and making them just really resentful people. And Christine, who we were introduced to, she's a very nice girl. She doesn't want to create any conflict, but she wants the position. She came out of college and thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt. Really has no money, working from paycheck week to month to month with paycheck to paycheck. It's tough. And so she wants this job so she can start paying off her debt, save some money, have a nice time with her boyfriend, Justin Long. That's all she wants. Just give her that. But she's got to deal with fucking Patrick and fucking Ivan Raimi. He's being an asshole. And, she's doing the best she can, chat. She's proposing, like, all these different deals to the bank so they can get more of that money. She's talking to him. Ivan Raimi's like, oh, yeah, I prepared this thing for you. Hopefully, it'll help with the job. Maybe I can get the job. He's like, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, could you actually, I appreciate you doing this report. I'll keep the fact that you're interested in the job. I guess I'll remember that. But, hey, honey, why don't you go out and get me a turkey club? I mean, just some real, sexist shit. She's not a goddamn secretary. She works at the bank, chat. Terrible. And then fucking Patrick walks up and says, you know what? Can you get me a pork sandwich with honey mustard? Whatever. He orders some nonsense, chat. And she's like, again, she's not very assertive, chat. She's like, yeah, I'll do just that. And so we all feel bad for Christine, chat. She's not very assertive. She's a little naive, but it's like, oh, why are you treating her like this? And so she goes on her lunch break, chat. She's going to get the sandwiches with the schmucks. Ivan Raimi and Patrick. But then she goes to visit her boyfriend, introduced to Justin Long, who's very charming in the film. Doesn't get a lot to do. He's pretty much, he's the comfort character. He's the character that the main character goes to when they're just inundated with conflict and they just need to vent, and that's the purpose that he serves. In this scene, chat, they're just eating lunch together, enjoying each other's company. He works for a university. I guess he just made tenure. He's very fucking young to make tenure. Usually you gotta be in your 50s or 60s to make tenure, but fair enough. Apparently he's a genius. Works in the psychology department. Everyone loves him. And Christine, who's always thinking of her boyfriend, like, there's a good, you could tell these two actors have a lot of chemistry with each other, and I dug it. I dug what they were doing with each other. She brings him a little gift. Apparently he's a coin collector, and she's like, I got you this rare Liberty quarter. He's fucking jazzed about it. He's like, oh my God, I've been looking for this 1920s quarter forever. Thank you so much. Takes the quarter, chat, puts it into a light envelope, seals it, and puts it in his bag. That is extremely important for later on that happens in the movie. Remember this. And they do the whole thing, and she tells him what's happening in the bank. She's, oh, I'm sorry. Hey, even if you get the job, I love you, I'm gonna take you to dinner with my parents. They're kind of weird, but we're gonna have a good time. Everything's gonna work out. I'm making more money. We got actually a really lovely house in Pasadena. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine. She's like, oh, okay. And so she leaves, chat. She got the sandwiches for the two schmucks at the bank. And then a fucking Justin Long, he takes a call from his mother, and it's like, oh, here we go. Here's some of the conflict, chat. It's not the demon possession or anything, or the curses. And the mother's on the line. You can already tell, Chad. She's a bitch. She's nasty. She's like, oh, Justin? Hello, Justin. This is your mother speaking. He's like, I know, Mom. I know. And she's like, you know what? I hope you come to dinner, but you have to bring that hussy over. So already establishing the conflict. That Justin Long's mother wants nothing to do with Christine. Christine's a nice girl, as we all know so far. And Justin's like, yeah, I want to bring her over. He's like, don't do it. I have a wonderful doctor that you can meet. She'd be great for you and your career. And Christine's hearing all of this, chat, just crushing her self-esteem, just lowering her self-esteem the entire time. It's like, wow, she's put upon, chat. And she walks out dejected. Oh, meanwhile, like everyone tells her, like, hey, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand, like, in order to get what you want, you got to be tough. That's how, and even Justin Long says, it's like, I know you're a nice person, but sometimes you got to be that way in these situations. She's like, it's hard for me. And it's like, you understand, chat, you understand. She goes back to the bank. She's just working at her desk, and all of a sudden, this fucking crab-like skinned hand is just there, just tapping. Which, again, is very rude. That kind of... You hear that, chat? No one likes that fucking kind of sound effect. You just see this hand, it's scaled, rotten-looking flesh. The nails have not been clean. We pan up, and we see the best character in the movie, Sylvia Ganush. Now, let's give this lady some respect. Who is this actress? She does a great... Lorna Raver. Oh, please don't tell me she's dead. Okay, she's still alive, thank God. Woo! Lorna Raver. Currently age 76. And she plays Mrs. Ganush. And Mrs. Ganush, she's at the bank, chat. Again, she's kind of fucking... We pan up, we see her face. Typical old lady, except for half her fucking face, like Harvey Dent. She's got, like, a weird infected eye that's, like, super discolored. And the other one's, like, brown. Rotten teeth and everything. She's like, hey... I'm here because the bank is trying to foreclose on my house. Can you help me? And Christine's like, let me see what you got. She gets working through all these papers. Again, no order, chat. Fucking Mrs. Ganush, she just throws them all like Christine. She's looking through them. She's like, okay, well, according to this, we've extended on your home 2 times already. You haven't made these payments. And Mrs. Ganush, very nice, but being also rude at the same time because she's fucking coughing and she has like this bile that you just see on the napkin, chat, or the handkerchief. And Christine's like, this is awkward, but I gotta be respectful of the customer. You have to do that. And she's like, well, all right, let me go and talk to my supervisor and see what we can do. And Mrs. Ganush, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And then Christine, Chris goes to talk to Ivan Raimi, that fucking schmuck. Oh, by the way, I guess she messed up the order, or Patrick was being an asshole. He said, well, actually, I wanted mayo on my pork sandwich. She's like, you clearly asked for a honey mustard, you piece of shit. And, Christine's like, nah, I'm sorry. It's like, we know that. We know, Chad. He wanted a honey mustard. Fair enough. But she goes to Ivan Raimi. She says, there's this very old woman here. We already gave her 2 extensions at home. She's on a fixed income. She's sick. What you do? And Ivan Raimi's like, fucking throw it on the curb. And she's like, I don't want to do that. She's like, well, you know what? Christine, just thinking of that assistant manager position just off the top of my head. Well, do what you want. Do what you think is right. And I'm going to think about the assistant manager position. She's like, shit. So she goes back, chat. Oh, Broadway Tone, thank you so much for the subscription. 2 months in a row. 2-month streak, sir. Thank you. I think that makes exactly what happens, Dark Slayer. Mrs. Ganush. That's what he tells her, basically. But Christine's a nice girl. Anyway, she's like, I really want that job. So she goes. Oh, by the way, during those scenes, she constantly, like, looking back at Mrs. Ganush, takes her teeth out, her dentures shot. Why are her dentures rotten? Takes out her rotten dentures and starts taking eats all the candy on Christine's desk, just popping it in there, chat. And she has her dentures, like, at least she put her handkerchief down, put them on that, so they're not touching the table. So Christine's walking over, Mrs. Ganush is like, oh, shit! Oh, she also pockets all the candy in her purse. Typical grandma. She's like, yeah, she's a disgusting witch woman, chat, but, there's something charming about her. I love her. And so she's like, oh, and she puts the teeth back in, and all the weird sounds and bile coming out of her mouth, chat. And then Christine says, Mrs. Ganush, I'm sorry, but we can't give you a third extension. Mrs. Ganush is like, please, no, please. You seem like a nice girl. I will be out on my own. I won't have anything. She's like, well, Mrs. Ganush, you have a daughter and or granddaughter who has a home. Maybe you can go to her. You can live with her. She's like, no, I'm a proud woman. I will not put upon my granddaughter. I will not do that. She does not need that. She is her own proud woman. It's like, Mrs. Ganush, I'm sorry. And then fucking Mrs. Ganush is like, I'm gonna do something I've never done in my entire life. I'm gonna beg you. She's on her fucking knees, Chet. She's like, please, look into your heart. Please give me this extension. She's fucking kissing. She's kissing the skirt of Christine, Chet. It's like, oh, I feel so bad. And Christine's like, I don't like this. This is weird. And she backs down. Mrs. Ganush falls for it. Mrs. Ganush looks at her and it's like, oh, that's where you fucked up, Christine. That's where you fucked up. And then Mrs. Ganush is like, I begged you. I was on my knees for you. And you shamed me. Shame me. And then you could just tell. And by the way, chewing the goddamn scenery, chat with those rotten teeth. Great scene. Really, really fun. Over the top. Perfect for a classic Sam Raimi horror film or horror comedy. And then fucking security guards are like, Mrs. Ganush, let's get out of here. And Mrs. Ganush is like, and she's like kind of attacks a little bit. Goes for Christine. You know, the eyes all bright and mouth out and clawed hand going for her. But they stop her. It's like, all right, lady, let's get you out of here. And then they put her on the bank and she, fixes her outfit, chat. And then we see it. We see the classic Sam Raimi car, chat, from Evil Dead. Ash's car. Mrs. Ganush drives Ash's car, which I think is really cool. It's all connected, chat. Ash clearly sold the car to this gypsy woman. And then it somehow got back in Ash's possession later on in the film. And I think I have a reason why. I think I know why. It's all connected. It's all in the same universe, chat. So Christine, she's like, whoa, that was weird. And fucking Ivy Raimi comes up. It's like, hey, good job kicking that old lady out of the bank and not giving her that loan. Matter of fact, and he looks back at Patrick, I think you're in first place for the new job. She's like, yes. And it's like, why are you doing this, Ivy Raimi? That's a terrible thing to do. You kicked an old woman out and you're playing your fucking chess, game with your two employees. Not a good supervisor, chat. And so Christine's like, well, I had to sell my soul in order to get this job, but that's just the way it is. That's how the world works. And, Ivy Raimi approves. Christine's a little happy but sad. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, Christine, she's leaving. She goes to the parking lot, chat. And now she's walking to the parking lot. Like it's an underground parking lot. Maybe it's like above ground. It's like underground parking. We'll go with underground parking lot. The corner right near her car, the fucking Ashmobile. Mrs. Ganush's car. She's like, oh, shit, she came back. She's here. Christine, she goes over, she opens her car, she's like, whew, I'm safe inside. And all of a sudden, she's looking at the car, and the bile-covered handkerchief is floating towards her. It's not, and this is the part of the movie, it's like, there's CGI in this film that does not work, and this is one of the cases. Like, it looks fine, but it doesn't age well. But you see the handkerchief, it's flying all over, hits her fucking windshield, she goes, and a little spooked. And then it kind of crawls over to the back of the car. We get this cool pan shot, and there's a person in the car, chat, covered in shadow. And it's when they go, it's Mrs. Ganush, she's here! And she attacks Christine. They get into a fucking brawl, chat. And this is very, for the most part, this film is Evil Dead like the original, but this scene in particular is Evil Dead 2. Because they started brawling at one point, and fucking Christine apparently keeps a stapler in her car, starts stapling Mrs. Ganush's face. Mrs. Ganush is getting hit by staples her bad eye at one point, so she can't open it anymore. So it's pretty goofy. And Miss Christine manages to start the car and starts driving at one point. Mrs. Ganush just tearing out her throat or trying to just kill her, Chad. Really just trying to kill her. One point, fucking Christine, she hits another car that's parked. Mrs. Ganush just goes flying right into the dashboard. Bah! And then Mrs. Ganush's all of her teeth fall out. They break her dentures. And at this point, she should definitely be dead. Or at least paralyzed from the neck down. But, she's just, her stapled eye pops up. Not, it doesn't pop out, but the staple pops out. She's able to see again. But she hits the thing, teeth fall out. She tries to attack Christina again, but then Christine just fucking kicks her. And she falls out of the car. And then Christine's like, oh shit, where'd she go? And then, she's like, can't see her. And then Mrs. Ganush pops up and she manages to get like a cinder block. I don't know where she found this in the parking garage, but she gets a cinder block, breaks open the window, and then somehow is able to open the door despite it being locked. Whatever, Chad, doesn't matter. Use her gypsy powers, I assume. And so she goes for Christina again, Chad, but doesn't try to kill her. She just takes a little button. Takes a little button from her. And she does this incantation. Speaking in whatever language she's speaking, I imagine some Latin that's thrown into there too. And it's like, and then it was done, all the, wind is picking up and everything. It's very demonic sounding, Jack. And she goes, here's your button back. See you later. Mrs. Ganush vanishes into the night, chat. Christine, she calls the police. She tells them about Mrs. Ganush and what she tried to do. They can't find Mrs. Ganush, not even at her home. They have nowhere. Granddaughters know where she is. She just disappeared, chat. And Christine's like, well, that was weird. Mrs. Ganush also says, you denied me my thing, but soon you'll come groveling back to me, and I'll deny you your freedom or whatever. It's like, okay, that was very nefarious. Then what happens after this? Oh, yeah. Okay. I think at one point, where are we in the movie? Okay, so Christine's like really freaked out about this, everything that Mrs. Ganush said. Justin Long picks her up and they're driving, or they're walking back to Justin Long's car, because, they got to put Christine's car in the shop at this point, it's damaged. And they pass by a fortune teller, and Christine, she got this bad juju. She got this negative feeling. She's like, I know this is weird. I really need to, let's go, I want my fortune told. And Justin's like, why? You don't believe in that stuff. I'm a man of science. I don't believe in that either. But she's like, please, can we just, and she's like, all right, well, you're obviously not feeling well. Let's do what you want to do. Again, being a good boyfriend, Chad, being a good boyfriend. They go into the shop, and they meet, what's this guy's name? Joss. I think his name, or is this his name? Ram Joss, chap. Ram Joss. And, it's not the prototypical fortune teller, which, we always think is, gypsy woman with a shawl or anything. No, it's actually this very attractive Indian man. And she just walks in. She's like, hey, I just want my fortune. She'll say, hey, you know what? Let's go and do it. $60, please. Justin Long pays him. He's like, okay. And then they start doing the fortune-telling scene. Justin Long, he's like, this guy's full of shit. Whatever. Ram, Mr. Joss, he's saying, he's doing the typical stuff. It's like, oh, you're under great stress. Like, the cold reading type chat. And he's like, oh, you've lost something. A button, perhaps? Just like, well, clearly he just saw the missing button. But as the fortune gets read even more, Chad, he starts to see things. Starts to see visions, and a little demon pops up. He goes, ah! Oh, he's like, oh, shit, I don't want anything to do with this. You know what? I'm just going to give you your money back, please, and thank you, goodbye. And they leave the shop, Chad. And Christine, she's a little freaked out by everything that happened. Her and Justin Long, they go back to their house at one point. And so Justin Long says, hey, so he drops her off at their house, and he's like, hey, I gotta go back to the office, pick up some stuff. Do you mind? You're gonna be okay? She's like, I'm gonna be fine. Sorry. She goes in the house, chat, and then, she's just enjoying herself, making some bread. At one point, she's a picture of herself as a kid. She was the pork queen. Apparently, it was, referencing the fact that she's always come in second place or third, never finishing on top, chat. We see her when she's a little chubby kid, and she entered her prize pig. She lived in a farm in the past, chat. And she's like, I don't want that. I want to be in first place now. And she crumples up the picture. And all of a sudden, the fucking demonic entity starts attacking her. You don't see the entity, chap, but you see shadows and stuff, throws her around the room. She's got a little cat, and that little cat's just freaking the fuck out because doesn't know what's going on. But she's thrown around the room. Eventually, Justin Long comes home. He's like, I can't believe Mrs. Ganush came to attack you. She's like, it wasn't Mrs. Ganush. I have no idea what the hell this was. And he's like, well, clearly it was Mrs. Ganush. She's like, no, it wasn't. It was something else. But, she's traumatized, Chad. That's when Justin Long is thinking, it's okay. Let's just go to, you know what? We'll talk about it in the morning. We'll get you, we'll do whatever we need to do. Let's just go to bed. And that's what they do, Chad. They go to bed, and then we get this one scene of this little CGI fly that's kind of fucking with her. And it's like, oh, first it's on her brow, and then it goes up her nose, and it goes out the other nostril, but then suddenly, Chad, it goes into her mouth. And just in there. It's just in there. And, and she wakes up coughing, all that stuff. She goes back to sleep, and she wakes up, and she's Mrs. Ganoush right over her, Chad. And Mrs. Ganoush just vomits tons of bugs and maggots and everything else, liquid bile, Chad, right into her mouth and nostrils, and and she wakes up, Chad. It was a dream, or was it? Eventually, I believe she goes back to see. No, she does not yet. So Justin's like, hey, you're gonna be okay, because they get up in the morning and everything. Christine says nothing's wrong. Drops out of the bank. She starts her day, Chad. And meanwhile, fucking Patrick comes over being an asshole. And he's like, hey, I know you're working on that big deal for Ivan Raimi. You need any help with that? She's like, I don't want your help. He's like, okay, fair enough. Well, can you help me with my stuff? He's like, fine, we'll go over it. And then she starts seeing weird shit again, chat. She first imagines Patrick as Mrs. Ganoush. And then she yells at Patrick, but because she thinks it's Mrs. Ganoush, but it's not. So that freaks her out. He's like, whoa, okay, I'm gonna back off, take it easy. And then fucking Ivan Raimi comes over. He's like, hey, what's going on with you? What's going on? And, she's like, oh, thank you! Who is this new person? Stranger Shoe, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Mrs. Ganoush. Point up her breast. Oh, don't be nasty, Darkslayer. Don't be nasty. I've seen Evil Dead before this. I would have made the connection. I think it would have been a great connection. I mean, they still can. I don't see why not. I think it would be kind of fun, actually, if they do that. If they ever do a sequel to Evil Dead, Evil Dead 4, which I bet they will someday, that'll be like a Netflix movie, chat. Like, I think that would be not a theatrical release, just do it on a streaming service. I think Netflix would be perfect for Evil Dead. Let's do it. Also, at one point, chat, she hears the fly, like, buzzing in her tummy. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird. She feels it. Oh, she give birth to a giant fly baby? We don't know. And then she also starts getting a nosebleed as Ivan Raimi is talking to her. And then he's like, hey, are you okay? And all of a sudden, chat, she's like, I'm fine. And she, like, vomits this, like, just a fucking stream of blood just right at Ivan Raimi's face. She just covers and lathers him in blood, shoots out of her nose. She tries to, I think she covers her mouth at one point, and then starts shooting out her nose. And this is a great practical. I think it is practical. Maybe it was CGI enhanced. I think it was a combination of CGI and practical, but this one is aged very well. It shoots out of her mouth, shoots out of her nose, like it was fucking milk, covers Ivan Raimi. But the thing is fucked up, Chad. It's like no one asked her. It's like, oh my God, after it stops, the flowing stops. Like no one's asking, oh my God, are you okay? No, they all go to fucking Ivan Raimi's like, oh, I think I got something in my mouth. So again, it's like, all right. I mean, that was a comedic bit, but still, are you okay? You just shot all of your blood out of your body through your mouth and nose, but no one goes, to help fucking Chris, chat. They go and help Ivan Raimi because he's a selfish bastard. And so she freaks out. She cleans herself up and she goes to talk to, I believe, oh no, before that, chat, we also see Patrick. He steals the file for the important case that Chris is working on. He's like, bah. And then I believe she goes and talks to, was it Joss again, or did she go to somewhere else? Hold on. Okay, not yet. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is what happens. She goes to, talks to Joss again and says like, okay, this is what really happened. I was cursed by, I don't know, she said this incantation. She's like, it's, so what she did was she basically sicked a very evil demon, like, a very evil chat, more evil than usual demons on you. It's type of curse that lasts 3 days. It basically haunts you for 3 days. At the end of the third day, you will then be dragged to hell. Again, referencing the movie's title. In this case, it was verbally said. And she's like, that is not good. And he made some suggestions. Well, I mean, the first thing you probably want to do is go to the person who cursed you, see if you can make it better for them to lift the curse. She's like, that's a great idea. I'm going to help Mrs. Ganoush. I'm going to help her get her house back despite her trying to murder me countless times and cursing me. I'm going to go talk to her. She goes to the house. No one there. She goes to her granddaughter's house, Chad. She's like, and she goes there. Granddaughter's like, oh, I know who you are. I know who you are. And she also references the fact, like, oh, you were a fat girl once. She's like, yes, I was a fat girl. Why does that matter? She's like, and she starts calling her fat girl and everything, pig girl, I think. And she's like, you know what? Okay, you want to talk to my grandmother? Come on in, come on. And she goes downstairs and she sees all these fucking people around. And they're in celebration. She's like, what the hell's going on down here? And she's stumbling. She's kind of flummoxed, chat. And all of a sudden, she sees Mrs. Ganoush. Except she's not alive, chat. She's dead. She's in a casket, and that kind of freaks her out. I think she leans overweight because, referencing the fact that she was a fat pig girl at one time. Leans overweight on Mrs. Ganoush's casket. It fucking breaks. Mrs. Ganoush falls. The corpse of Mrs. Ganoush falls on top of her and just begins vomiting all the bile and everything that was just dissolving inside of her system right into Chris's mouth and up her nose. A lot of things going in people's mouths in this movie. Oh, but the thing is, Chad, like, this would have been cool had it been practical. It's all CGI. And even when she gets up, she's not even, like, covered in it. And it's like, all right, this is kind of weird. Had it been practical, I think this would have aged a lot better. But it's just CGI bile and things and vomit. And so, they've managed to fucking get Mrs. Ganoush back in her casket. And Mrs. Ganoush's granddaughter walks up and is like, all right, yeah, go ahead and talk to her. And she said, you're going to get what you fucking deserve. And she's like, shit, I don't know what to do. Eventually, she goes back to Josh. She says she's gone. He's like, well, there may be ways to appease the demon itself. Animal sacrifice, that's a big thing. She's like, I'm a vegetarian. I can't sacrifice animals. He's like, oh, lady, at this point, you got fucking flies flying up your nose into your tummy, vomiting blood, getting thrown around the room. It's time to kill something, okay? Let's just do it. Save your goddamn soul from eternal damnation. He's like, listen, I'm going to give you this book. It's going to explain everything that it is about animal sacrifice, trying to appease the demon. Do with it what you will. And she's like, all right. We go back here. She's reading the book, chat. She's got a little kitty cat. She's playing with the kitty cat. She's like, oh, it's adorable. And then Chad get the second, big scene when the demon's kind of fucking with her, blows open the doors, tracking her down within her own home. She runs upstairs, eventually gets into the room that she's locked herself in and starts throwing her around in her cupboards. I mean, this girl could take a goddamn punch in the throat. She does a good job. And at this point, she's like, well, I gotta do what I gotta do. And she's like, kitty, kitty, kitty. She grabs a fucking knife, chat. She finds that kitty cat. Don't see it, but you know what happened. She just starts stabbing the shit out of this fucking kitten, chat. Out of this kitten. And it's going, meow, and everything. She just stabs the shit out of the chat. And the next time we see that fucking cat, with all the various stab wounds she's bearing in the backyard. You think you gotta do like an incantation or like, hey, you want this thing? But apparently not. Just kill the fuck out of it and then bury in your backyard. She's doing that. Justin Long comes. I was like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, I'm okay. He's like, hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and cancel dinner with my parents. I think it'll be. I just want to concentrate on. Let's just have a nice evening in. She's like, no, I want to meet your parents because she also wants to prove to fucking Justin Long's mother that she's just not some farm girl that works at a bank. She's more than that. And at this point, Christine believes she's appeased the demon that's going after her. And so she doesn't have to worry about nothing. And he's like, oh, okay, well, if you want to, we can, let's go. And so they go, chat. She's all, dolled up in a very nice dress. Justin's like, oh, you're beautiful. You look amazing. He's like, oh, thank you. So they go to the house, lives in a fucking opulent mansion, chat. Clearly, Justin Long, he comes from money, but he's not, but he's a humble person. He clearly wanted to just go off on his own, do his own thing. Got his goddamn tenure at 32 or however Justin Long is. So he wants to be his own man. They open the door, typical, like super rich parents who are very haughty, kind of, dismissive of Christine. And, like they're kind of out of arms. It's like they keep Justin Long at arm's reach, that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we love you, but we're not like, super huggy, that kind of thing. Like little air kisses. And then, his father's like, how you doing, son? It's like, oh, good to see you. So like that kind of shit. It's like, all right, I get what you're doing here. Prototypical rich parents. And so Christine starts talking to the mother, Justin Long and Dad. They go get some drinks for everybody. Chardonnay, I think. Christine brings this cake, which is called the harvest cake, and she tries to explain it to the mother, but the mother doesn't give a shit. And at this point, it's like, okay, let's just go ahead. Let's go have dinner. Let's hopefully not be awkward. They sit down, chat. We get to learn a little bit about Christine's history, when she was growing up. Mother, again, just asking all these questions. Like, oh, who are your parents? And we learned that Christine's father died, and her mother became an alcoholic, and then apparently that impresses Justin Long's mother. He's like, you know what? Not a lot of people would admit that. That takes moxie. That takes some backbone. Like, my dad was a drunk, too. You know what, Christine? I was wrong about you. Let's enjoy your harvest cake. And she's like, she summons the help. And they bring out the cake. They cut slices. The good-looking cake, chat. Simple cake. But they start, it's like, kind of looks like a combination between carrot cake and gingerbread. That looks good. I like a good slice of carrot cake, every once in a great while. So they cut this thing open, chat. And they're like, oh, this is fucking wonderful. You got raisins in here? I love it. Everyone's digging it. Christine she starts picking at her cake and it starts moving, chat. It's like, oh no, the kitty sacrifice didn't work. The cake just starts moving and a fucking eyeball just starts staring at her and that kind of freaks her the fuck out. And I think at one point she stabs the eyeball. It's like, no, this isn't actually happening. This is all in my head. And she eats a little bit of the cake, chat, and she starts coughing. And she can't help herself. She's like, "Ugh! And then finally, Justin Long pats her in the back, and then the fly from earlier, chat, pops out of her mouth. The mother goes, oh, the father goes, ooh, and starts buzzing around everybody. At this point, chat, Christine starts hearing all the voices and everything. The cupboards all start moving, but only she can see it, chat. She takes her glass of very expensive Chardonnay, throws it at the wall, and everyone's like, whoa, what's wrong with you? And Justin's like, oh, she's not well, she's been through a lot, we just gotta get out of here. And Justin Long mother, again, being a mean old bitch, says, no, just get rid of her. No, you stay here. Get rid of her. Just kick her to the curb. And it's like, oh, no. He's like, no, Mom, I'm not gonna do that. I love her. And so he drives her back home, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be here again. Justin Long, he's a great boyfriend. He's like, I'm gonna be here for you. I know you're going through all this. Is very overwhelming. I'm gonna help you, but Christine knows that it's the demon. It's coming for her. It's the second day already. Tomorrow's the last day, Chad, and then it's over. He's like, all right, I gotta do something about this soon. So she goes ahead and contacts Joss again. And she said, okay, none of this is working. I sacrificed the cat. You said that would work. I was like, listen, man, these demons are picky. I don't know. I never encountered something like this before. And she's like, well, what do we do? And she's like, okay. It's going to cut to the original part of the movie, chat. He's like, okay, there's this woman who dealt with a situation like this once before. I can introduce, like 40 years ago in Pasadena in 1969, chat. It's the psychic woman from the first part of the film. She can help you. But I need $60,000. Oh, no, not $60,000. I'm sorry. I don't know why I come up with $10,000. But we know Christine, she's $1,000 in debt because of her student loans. The job isn't paying nearly enough, so she has no savings. She's like, I don't have that much. So she goes back to the house, chat, tries to sell everything she has so she can be freed. At one point, she goes into her little garden shed where I guess she keeps her ice skates. And she's putting everything in there. She moves this curtain, chat, and out pops Mrs. Ganoush. She's returned. Yay! The MVP of the movie. And Mrs. Ganoush's undead spirit attacks Christine. And, I love it. Puts her full fucking arm up to here, up the forearm through fucking Christine's mouth. She's sucking on her elbow, chat. And Christine's like, and then she sees something. Then we get this cool, Raimi-esque shot where he cut from, this string or whatever up to this crane with a fucking, what is it, chat? The weight? You know what I'm talking, anvil. An anvil right above. Why do you have an anvil hanging? Again, it's a Looney Tunes moment. Very Evil Dead 2. But she sees the string. She's reaching for it, despite Mrs. Ganoush just fucking deep throwing her right now. It's gross. She pulls the string, everything starts connecting. Mr. Ganoush is like, what? And then it fucking falls on Mr. Ganoush's head, chat, and the vision ends. It was just a vision, or maybe it wasn't. We don't know. Insert Beavis and Butthead. It pretty much is, man. The Ganoush has returned. And so Christine's like, well, that was weird. And so she goes to, I guess, the nearest pawn shop, chat, and she gets all of her wonderful possessions, her entire childhood. And apparently her childhood is about $3,800. That's all it's worth. And she's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so she goes home, chat, and she just eats all the fucking ice cream she can. Because, I'm just going to get fat and die. That's basically what she's decided to do. And then Justin Long comes home. He's like, oh, but you're lactose intolerant. And she's like, I don't care anymore. And fucking farting. She doesn't fart, chat, but I thought that we were going to do that, but it didn't. Justin Long's like, I paid him. She's like, what? I paid Joss. You need this. If this is going to help you, I'm here for you. Again, great fucking boyfriend, chat. And she hugs him, and they make out, and they smooch, and they have the sex. And then they go ahead and drive to the place that we saw in the beginning of the movie, chat, when Joss is there too, at the big old opulent mansion. The psychic she introduced. What's the psychic's name? I don't remember her name. What's her name? Sean. Her name is Sean. Huh. Didn't think that would be her name. There you go, chat. Her name's Sean. So, Sean's there, and she's much older, obviously. And she's like, all right, listen, we're going to perform a seance, and we're going to try to summon this demon, and we're going to try to kill the curse. And they're like, oh, okay, let's do it. And so they all go in there, chat. They set it up. Joss is there. Christine's. Justin Long, he's like, you got to wait in the parking lot, buddy. Sorry. This is between everyone who believes this shit you just don't believe. I'm sorry. He's like, all right, I'll do whatever I need to do. Again, good boyfriend. So they all go in their chat. Then all of a sudden, this assistant, a very opulent room, very cool opulent room. Then her assistant, whose name I don't remember, we're just going to call him the assistant. He comes out with a goat, and she's like, oh no, a goat. Oh, wait, I don't want to kill animals. Listen, you got a demon chasing after you. We got to kill this thing. What we're going to do is, we're going to give him the goat, and then maybe that'll appease him, instead of your soul. We don't want you to spend all your time in hell, eternal damnation, all that. So she does this incantation chat. And at first it brings all these other spirits who have refused to just leave our mortal plane. So they all show up. She's like, be gone, spirits. We don't want you. It's like people from like the 1920s and 60s and everything. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And again, it's cool in concept, but the CGI has not aged well. But eventually, chat, the demon, he makes his presence known, and he possesses Sean, the psychic. And he goes inside of her and is speaking through her. And he's like, I don't want this fucking goat, I want you. And everyone's like, oh, this is awkward. And he's like, if I touch you, I take your soul with me. And I think he physically has to touch her. It's like someone can touch him, but if he touches them in a specific way, he takes their soul, or I don't know. The logic here is a little all over the place, but let's just go with it. Just go with it. And so he's distracted because he's talking to the assistant. He's talking to Joss right now. And Christine, the goat's right next to him. And so Christine takes Sean's demon-possessed hand, puts it on the goat, and then he's like, no, I don't want that. And the demon goes inside the goat, and then the demon's talking a lot of shit. And Joss is like, get the knife, man. Cut the goat's head off, because that'll kill the spirit or the demon or whatever. And so the assistant, this guy's a fuck up. You already know, chat. You didn't even have any speaking lines yet. He grabs the knife. He waddles on over, but he fucking misses. And the goat goes, bah! And the goat attacks him. And the goat, the demon goat, ends up inside of him. And so he's possessed. And we get some cool practical effects here, chat, because they do a lot of wire work here, but it looks really good. And so he's kind of like walking in the air and everything, but it looks really cool. Demon hellfire popping up, and it's going for Christine. Joss is like, be gone, spirit, and goes right for Joss. Chat almost like tries to break his neck, choking the shit out of him. He's like, I know, I want her soul. At that point, I think, what happens here? Oh yeah. Yes. Okay, so then he throws Joss. He's choking. He's down on the ground. And then the demon assistant, he goes after Christine. He's like, I'm gonna get you, bitch. But then Joss goes over to Sean. He's like, you gotta help her. You gotta get the demon out of here. She's like, I will do it. And she does some kind of incantation, Latin or Spanish chat, a mixture of both, I think. And then the assistant just starts like vomiting this red mist, and it goes, again, CGI's okay here. Vomiting this red mist in the sky, and the demon is gone. It's gone from the seance, and the assistant, he fucking crash lands on the table. But he's okay. I'm actually glad the assistant lived, Jack, because he doesn't know what's going on. He's brought the fucking goat. But Joss checks on the assistant, which I appreciated. He's like, I'm okay. I'm actually pretty good. and Christine's like, oh, thank you, Sean. Thank you for saving me. He's like, Sean's like, no problem. I'm glad I could just. And she fucking has a heart attack. Right then and there. Pulls a blind fury punch, and she fucking falls to the ground, dead. Her last act, the last thing she wanted to do was to get rid of that spirit, chat, and she did it. She fulfilled her obligation. Exactly. Am I joking for people who've seen this movie? Exactly that. And she fucking dies. Joss kind of gives up because he's like, I'm going to do some chest compressions. And you're supposed to at least do that for like 2 minutes, I think. You're supposed to do that for a while. He gives up at 1, 2, 3. Nah, she's gone. Nothing we can do. He's like, no, let's keep trying. Fucking closes her eye, chat. She's passed on. Christine's like, well, I'm sorry she died, but whoo, I'm free, baby. Joss is like, not exactly. No. Actually, we just banished the spirit demon from the seance. It's still coming after you. And she's like, what the fuck? What? And she's like, yeah, I should have mentioned that. But here's the thing. There's one last thing we can do. And he says, the button that she took from you, your property, the cursed object, the thing is, there's a way we can prevent this. You can gift that cursed item to a specific person, and the curse will lift from you and be brought upon that other person. And it's like, why didn't you tell me that earlier? It's like, well, because it's a really fucked up thing to do. You would be cursing another person who shouldn't get the curse. shouldn't be cursed at all. You're basically damning them to hell, chat. You're dragging them to hell. Cool. And I'd be your accomplice, and I feel really bad about that. But he's like, hey, here's the button. Put in a white envelope. Sealed it. Here you go. Do what we will. It's your decision at the end of the day. And she's like, fuck, what am I going to do? Meanwhile, she gets a call from her boss and saying, like, oh, Chris, I don't know what the hell you've been doing. Apparently we lost the big thing we were working on, the plan or whatever, the I don't know, profile for this one guy's money. Another bank had the same exact plan. We don't know what happened. Did you have something to do with it? We don't know, but we learned, chat. We learned. Fucking Patrick sold the file to the other bank because he's a greedy son of a bitch. And fucking Christina realizes, I'm gonna give the button to Patrick. I'm gonna gift it to him. So she goes ahead. She goes to a diner, chat. She's fucking eating all the ice cream that she can, brownies and ice cream. She doesn't care at this point. Do you, girl. Eat that ice cream. She calls Pat. She's like, hey, man, I know what you did. She said, I'm going to blackmail you. I know exactly what happened. He's like, oh, don't do that. She's eating her ice cream, chat. He comes by. He's like, please, I'll do anything. And, just fucking blubbering, Chad. She's got the business. I'm going to give this to you, motherfucker. I'm gifting this to you. She's like, I don't understand. What do you mean? Again, Chad, blubber. And she, but Christine can't follow through. He's like, you are a prick. You're an asshole, but I cannot damn you to hell. I can't drag you to hell. And so she just pockets. She's like, just go. Just get out of here. I'm going to finish my ice cream. And then she goes back to Josh, chat, and she asks us, like, okay, how about this? Is there another way? Can I give it back to Mrs. Ganoush, despite her being dead? And he's like, well, in Gypsy, I don't know if this is true. This could be totally wrong. Please let me know. In Gypsy tradition, they typically give gifts to the dead. In a way, you can bequeath this gift. Oh, I missed a very crucial scene. Excuse me. At one point in the car, this is right. I think it was when Justin Long picked her up from the diner, and they're having a conversation, and she's looking for the envelope, chat, that Joss gave her. And at one point, she loses the envelope. She doesn't know where it is. And then she finds it. Oh, I'm sorry. I dropped it in your bag. She takes out the white envelope, chat, that Joss gave her, and she pockets it. I'm sorry. I thought I dropped this. And then she goes ahead and she goes back to Joss again or something. At this point, she's like, okay, is there a way to just give this back to her? He's like, well, gypsies, they give gifts to the dead. You can do that. Maybe it'll be acceptable. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go fucking do that. And so she spends all of her goddamn time digging up Mrs. Ganoush's grave, opens the casket, she's all zombified and weird. And she's like, I'm going to give this to you, old bitch. And she just, tries to give it in her hand, Chad, tries to, enclose that in that zombified claw, but she just won't take it. And the fucking body just pops up and grabs. Oh, here's a consistent joke throughout this entire movie where Mrs. Ganoush grabs her hair and rips a chunk off. I think it happens at least 4 times. This is the 4th time. The 4th and last time. She grabs a piece of her hair. It's like, that's the last time you're going to take my hair. And then she just shoves the envelope into Mrs. Ganoush's mouth. And it's raining. It's like heavy rainfall. And it's all, just going right into the grave itself. And it's burying Mrs. Ganoush of the envelope with the thing inside of it. And then Christine, she crawls out. She's like, woo, that is that. Done deal. We can get the hell out of here. And she goes back to home. She's feeling great, Chad. Justin Long comes by. He's like, hey, let's go on a vacation. Let's fuck everything. Fuck the bank. She gets a call from her boss. And he says, you know what? I'm sorry. I spoke to you that way, Patrick. He actually came to me and confessed everything. He was crying. He was blubbering. And you got the moxie, Christine. I want you as my assistant manager. Like, everything's going Christine's way. And you know what? And the boss says, you know what? Go ahead and take your vacation. That assistant manager position is going to be right there waiting for you. She's like, thank you, boss. And so her and Justin Long, they go to the train station, chat. Just, go out to the country or another city. I don't fucking know. They're going to go out to the country. And Justin Long's like, I'm just so glad to be here with you. This is great. I love you. Oh, I love you too. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. You know what? You lost this last night. And he fucking takes out the envelope, Chad. It's like, yeah, it's the envelope you wanted. You must have had my coin. And she takes up the button. He's like, here you go. And she's like, oh! And so she freaks the fuck out. And she's like, oh! And she's freaking out. And she falls on the train chat because she's on the platform. 9 3/4 or whatever the hell it is. Harry Potter reference. And she falls back. and you know, a train's coming, she starts freaking out. All of a sudden, chat, the earth begins to crack. You see the fucking hellfire, and all the demon hands reach up to her. They got Christine. They start dragging her. Meanwhile, Justin Long's like, what the fuck? He's seeing all of this shit, and they're dragging the hell, and the train comes over, fucking eviscerates her face and everything, and they're just still dragging her to hell. She's screaming for help, but it doesn't matter, chat. She's done. She's been dragged to hell, and the last image we see is just a sobbing Justin Long. And that's Drag Me to Hell. That's what happened. That's the movie. I'm like, well, I mean, that was pretty cool. I didn't realize what was going on until I was like, oh, yeah, the envelope. I thought that was awesome. That was a fucked up way to go. I feel so bad for Christine, but again, this movie teaches an important lesson. Do not evict or foreclose on gypsy women because they will curse you. I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us to know. They either curse you, turn you into a werewolf, or make you super thin, and eventually you'll just die. That's what we need to know. Ultimate Darkseid, that was a good choice. I agree, man. No, the other day, guys, this was a very fun film. It's relatively short, too. I saw the unrated version, which had a lot more gore and stuff, and I think a few more extended scenes. But I really enjoyed it. It's about 99 minutes, so, you know, it's pretty short. It's a very short movie. It's like an hour and 39. Quick watch. I think it would be great to see it with friends, too, or just see it by yourself, honestly. But the only issue I have with it is that, again, the CGI effects are dated. They just have not aged well. Like, I wish they had just a lot of more practical effects in this movie. They just don't. And that's disappointing because it's like, it just doesn't fit the scene all that well. But despite that, the movie is very entertaining. I would give it, on the DT scale, on the double toasted scale, full price. This is probably the best movie that I reviewed so far on stream, on my specific channel. So, highly recommend checking it out. I watched it on Amazon Prime, I believe for either $3 or $4. So if you don't want to buy it on Blu-ray, though, I recommend it. I recommend buying it on Blu-ray. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, and and my whole thing is like this. You could see this fitting into the Evil Dead universe because I think it'd be a great joke, wouldn't it? Is okay, Ash sold his car to the gypsy woman, and then you know. The fucking granddaughter owns the car. He's like, hey, can you take this piece of shit back? We don't even want it. And Ash is like, all right, sure, why not? Still pocket the cash. That's how Ash would be. I think that would be like a really nice little wink and nod to the audience. Like, oh, it all takes place in the same world. But yeah, I would give it a full price, a solid full price. Very enjoyable movie. It's one of my favorite Raimi films. Yeah, it is to me too. I think this would be great for if you want to watch like the Evil Dead movies and this. It all kind of fits together to me. It's very similar tone. Very similar tone. Maybe not as comedic as Evil Dead 2. Honestly, it's in between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2. Kind of fits nicely in the middle in terms of tone. So I really dig it. So Rare, you got a movie with a sad ending. That's super. Yeah, you know it's fucked up. But it's like that twist is really good, and you feel bad for the character, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. But yeah, I had a blast with it, guys.